Hey everyone, it's Sonya here. Welcome to another edition of my podcast series. This is episode 145, and once again, this is a heart to heart. So, heart to hearts, the video components, which are the exact same thing, but with beautiful faces of my guest speaker. You're going to be able to find us on my YouTube channel. The links will be included in the show notes here. And so if you choose to pop in and watch the heart to heart, play it while you're doing something. And if not, you can find the audio. In case you're catching this, you can find the audio on all of your favorite listening channels. So, episode 145. Welcome, Valerie. Tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you for having me. A little bit about me. So right now, I just wrote my first book. I published it in October. I moved into life coaching, and my goal is ultimately to get into public speaking. I love encouraging and, kind of being that cheerleader for someone who doesn't have someone, because that has really helped me on my journey. I didn't realize how much I was able to get done by just having someone in my corner saying, you can do this, you got this, I believe in you, you're a champion, like really empowering you. And so that's it's always been my passion to be like that, but now it's even more so because I've been through so many things in life, be turning 52 this month or the end of this month. And so, you have all these life stories and these things you've been through, and it's okay, now I'm ready to turn around and help. I help a lot of women who are like in their 30s, 25, 30s, 40s that are, kind of behind where I've been through those things. So it's nice to be able to turn around and not necessarily they're going to listen to everything I say, but at least I'm a sounding board. And yes, I've been there and I can share my stories and things that happened, the turnout that I had on my decisions. And it just helps them to think about their situations.
I love that. I love how you are reaching out to help others. And that's as part of you're pulling them. You're literally sticking your hand out and pulling them towards you as
Mm-hmm.
they're moving through life. That's the way I took what you said.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So tell us about your book. That's super exciting.
So my book, I wrote my book 3 times. So by the time I actually published it, it was a book. It's just more like a manual. I wish at some point in my life, I just need a manual for life, like how do people, we all resonate with different people, right? So there's some people that are motivational speakers that, oh my gosh, I love them. And then there's some you kind of turn off. So it's just who you find that you plug into, right? So for me, I never plugged into anyone that I really connected with on a level that I was going through. There's a lot of mentor, motivational speakers and stuff, and nothing against that. But I wanted a woman. I wanted, someone that has actually, had kids, been through things, all the things that I'd been through. So I decided, okay, I'm going to write my manual from how I went from being like living in self-doubt. I was just surviving every day, like zero self-confidence whatsoever. And so, and how I turned that around, because 8 years ago I divorced. And when I divorced, I didn't intentionally do this, but I've been on a self-awareness journey for 8 years. And I've only dated one person in that time for 2 years, not by choice. It's just how the cards have played out. It's just how it's played out. And I'm to a place now that I'm ready and happy and healthy and whole and ready for my king. I've groomed myself as a queen all these years. And so just all the things that I was missing out on. But in my book, the first 4 chapters are really how I went and how I believe anybody can go, from hanging on, surviving, no matter what your situation is, to thriving, because it's just generic things that I talk about. Like the first topic I talked about, I had a vision that my airplane was weighed down with baggage that was so heavy that the plane can't take off. They always have these weight limits on airplanes, right? So when it's too heavy, your plane can't take off. It literally can't go. And so my whole life, I've held on to everything, divorces and a lot of things I never had closure with, so you're always having that in your heart, like there was never closure, and that's not fair, and look what they did to me, and the list goes on and on and on, and it can all be right, but at the end of the day it hurts me because I'm so heavy and weighed down that I can barely breathe, and I'm having panic attacks and I can't function, and I'm just so heavy. And so in this vision it was like, now that you've spent these 8 years and you keep healing one by one and throwing this bag out and throwing that bag out and throwing this bag out and throwing 3 bags out over here and 4 bags out over here, and you finally got to a place that your plane is going to soar and take you to places that you've never been in your lifetime. Like you're going to be soaring to places you never thought possible because you chose to forgive yourself, forgive others, and to let it go so you can move forward. So my first step in the book is basically getting people to realize that forgiveness is not for the other person. It's really for you. And then another chapter, I go into self-love, what it is, what it isn't. We've heard so many things on it. All the years, I just thought self-love was ridiculous. I don't want to hear that. Everybody tells me I need self-love. I have so much self-love. I love people so much that I probably smother them. I have it, but I didn't realize I didn't have it for me. It's a different thing, right? So by not having it for me, I didn't have boundaries. I attracted all the wrong things in my life. I didn't know how to say no to things. I didn't know how um, to have intuition of what's right for me, what's not right for me. I just let all things come in. I didn't have any of that. And then my next chapter went into all of this self-talk in my head. You're too old to do that. You're not pretty enough to do that. You didn't go to college. You can't do, who do you think you are? You can't do, just all the things that are playing in your head because you have this life that you want to live and you want to create. I want to write books and I want to travel the world and I want to speak on stages and I want to encourage and empower and all these things. But then all these voices that want to hold you back. And if you're not careful, they do hold us back because we believe our negative self-talk and then you sabotage yourself. So I talk about that. And then the fourth thing I talk about, I was the queen of putting walls up. I was so vulnerable over the years because I'm a very open-hearted person, but by being so vulnerable and putting my heart out there and I would just get hurt time and time again. So the walls started coming up. And then the walls got up so high that I don't think anybody could get in or around. And what I realized was, yes, I kept the bad out, but how many opportunities and friendships and relationships and things that were meant for me did I keep out? Because I would go to networking events with women and I always sat in the back. I always kind of just sat here like this, by myself. I kind of did my thing. I was closed off, of course. And I was like, oh, well, none of those women like me. They don't, want to talk to me. But really, I was doing all of that to myself because my walls were so big. Probably people were scared to come talk to me. They're probably, okay, she's having a bad day. We're not talking to her. And by doing that, you don't get invited to things. You don't get asked to participate. You don't, because you're literally shut off. So it's like, how many things over those years did I keep out because I was thinking I was doing a good thing for myself? And to have true success in love and all the things you want in life, your walls have to come down. You have to be vulnerable. And so those are really the 4 steps in the first part of a book. And then there's more, but that's like I would say the main part of it.
There's so much that we can take away and dissect from this, but my biggest piece right now, first of all, congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
I know that's the beginning. At 52, I know that's the beginning of the direction of where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned that yourself, like the empowerment piece and the leadership piece and the stage presence. So I know for a fact that this is just the beginning of you, because having the courage to put your thoughts and feelings onto paper and have other people, and it doesn't matter who you are. So whether you're a self-publisher or whether you get a publisher, it doesn't make a difference. You are throwing that message out there to the world.
Right.
And that's not easy for anybody. A couple things you said that were really impactful, and it took you 8 years to get where you are today. We
Mm-hmm.
don't normally give ourselves that time.
I know.
Let's talk
And
about that.
I don't want to do it again, but I will tell you, looking back, it is the absolute best gift I could have given myself because by doing that, the rest of my life will be the very best years of my life, hands down. There is zero doubt there. Like, because I got myself to a place that I'm happy, healthy, whole with me. And so it's so empowering. And it's just like, I know it can be done. I know a lot of women don't want to take 8 years. So that's why with all the things I've been through, it's like, I love to help and teach and learn. So their learning curve can be like fast. Like, okay, let's get you here in 6 months, let's get you here and, get you up to speed quickly. Cause I've been through, it took me that long, but it doesn't need to take the next person that long.
And that's why we work with a coach. We can do things ourselves. And we have at this point, I'll be 50 this year. So our stories are somewhat similar. We didn't talk too much behind camera today. So we don't know those similarities, but I've been divorced twice. I know how hard it is to pick things up. And unless one divorce will knock somebody on their ass.
Yeah. I've been through 2 as well.
Okay. Yes. And That first one is hard enough, picking
Yes.
yourself up, rebuilding, getting yourself settled, and to do it again,
Yeah.
it's like a wow moment. And situations change and life change. So in my cases, I had 3 kids the first time, and then I had 3 kids the second time. So survival mode for me was literally just that, because it wasn't about me. There was no way I could put my own oxygen mask on first. It was literally survival, making sure that everybody was okay. The first time they were too young to know the difference. The second time, it is still impacting them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we are here to help people on their journey, because we're talking about divorce right now as one example.
Yes.
There are so many other examples that knock you on your ass, that
Hmm.
make it so those walls come up. And it could be losing a parent, it could be serving in the military and coming back and having PTSD, but you can have that in other forms as well. You can be fired or laid off, or you can be in a countless amount of bad friendships or relationships where they're not serving you. This
Right.
can look completely different for anybody, but the process, the point, has the same result. Without the right healing, your first instinct is to guard yourself by
Yes.
putting those walls up.
I'll just share real quick on that because it came to my mind. So my dad passed away when I was 12, and I was with him and I saw it. And he had leukemia, and he came home and I was up in the night taking care of him. And I ran out of the room when he fell, the bathroom, because I was helping him get in there. And my mom ran in there, and she never knew I saw all that. And so we never talked about his death the next day. It was as if it didn't happen. And so by not healing, when you say, a lot of times people say, well, time heals all things. Well, I disagree with that because I was angry that my dad died and left me at 12 years old, almost 13. Like that was just a really, for many reasons, that could be a whole thing. But I just, in my mind at 12 years old, I was angry and I just categorized it that he left me. Not that he even died, that he just left. Like he left me, and abandonment and all the issues that come with that. I did not address my dad's death until I was 50 years old. I went to his grave at 38 years. By not addressing his death over these last 8 years, one of the things that I realized on my own through my own coaching, because I've been going, coaching myself on a lot of things too, as I listen to things, but I learned subconsciously at 12 years old, when something traumatic happens, we just put it under the rug like it didn't happen. And the next day we move on. And so I was broken because of that. When my dad died, I began to have panic attacks in 6th grade. I didn't tell anybody. So then I became very quiet because I was scared. I was labeled as shy. I attracted all the wrong people in my life because I was not authentically me. I was just surviving, trying to breathe every day, and then you meet one person, you marry them, and it's the wrong thing. But
Yeah.
going back and not addressing his death and not healing from it, I created all the wrong relationships, the wrong marriages, the wrong people, the wrong everything in my life, because I just wanted to be loved and I just wanted somebody to be there. But whenever these relationships, like, I had one husband who liked to cheat on me and stuff. So it would be like he would cheat. And then I would be like, where are we going to dinner? Let's go on a vacation. Let's go to Galveston for the weekend. Like I literally was like not connecting the dots because it was too painful. And so I just would immediately put it under the rug. And I attracted these same kind of men, whether I was married or dating, in some form or fashion. And everything that would happen to me, I would immediately like just put it under the rug. And all of that also comes from not knowing yourself, not having self-love. There's no boundaries. It's a million things we can talk about, but I've been through a lot of things, and so healing is important, and taking the time out, and to invest in yourself, because some people are like, I don't even know where to begin. I didn't know where to begin. I couldn't even fill out the questionnaire my life coach gave me. I could not fill it out. I'm like, I don't think I should be doing this with you because I can't even answer your basic questions. And I was crying and I was a mess.
And that is vulnerability right there at its finest. But I've been there. I've been there. And there was a scenario that I was going to share with you, because we can be working with the right people and they can be giving us the right advice, and we could still be getting a result that we didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
And that too is not easy, because you've learned to trust yourself. You've
Mm-hmm.
learned to ask for help. And yet you didn't get the desired outcome. So you
Right.
think this is a negative.
Right.
Thank you for sharing about your dad. I can tell you firsthand how lucky I feel. My dad was diagnosed with lymphoma, which
Mhm.
is adult leukemia, right? Where it's in your blood 6 months ago, and stage 4. My aunt had died of this when I was 16, his sister. So I was really concerned. He had a big knot in his stomach as well. But on Friday, he rang the cancer bell.
Wow.
Most people don't get to in their 76th year,
Right. Wow. Yeah.
right? He didn't understand why I put a surprise pizza party together and invited the whole family, and that this was a big deal. I'm like, Dad, you have no idea how much this is a big deal. And on
Right.
the last episode, I talked about is as much as we're doing the work and we're taking the action and we're doing things, we're moving the needle, but maybe we're just not going anywhere, or we're not feeling the difference. Or if you're an entrepreneur and you're sitting in a spot where I'm doing the right things, why am I not attracting? Because I should be. What if you're just not ready yet?
Hmm.
What if you don't have the bandwidth? Do you think I had the bandwidth to serve and to support anybody over the last 6 months when I was subconsciously worried about my dad?
Right.
Right? Of course not. As
Right.
much as I wanted to,
Right. Right.
it had to look different. This is where we have to tap into something bigger and trust that everything happens at the right time.
Right.
You did recover from your dad
Hmm.
52 years later, or 38 years later, you
Yeah.
said,
Right.
sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But you didn't realize how your walls got up from that scenario.
Right.
And now you had labeled yourself in some cases as shy, as putting your head down, probably as an introvert,
Hmm.
unapproachable because of your body language, right? So
Hmm.
let's dive in a little bit about what it's like to have those walls up. When the walls are up, tell me how that feels.
When the walls are up, it's I think you just feel alone. You don't feel like you feel a very not trusting anybody. It's like you're in this dungeon, this dark dungeon, and you're safe, but yet you just don't trust. And is somebody trying to come in, or and you're just to me, it's like you're living in your head, but it's like you want all the things that are outside of the wall. Like you want peace and you want joy and you want love and you want this fairy tale relationship. Like I've always had this fairy tale relationship after my dad died, this man I'm going to live with, and he's going to sweep me off my feet, and we're going to be married, never have a divorce, and live happily ever after. And, all these wonderful things. And, life doesn't always turn out the way that we think. So, I'm living in these walls.
It's okay.
I'm living in these walls, and I'm like, this is not what I want. So to me, it's almost like this love hate. It's like you're constantly at war with yourself, right? Because this is not what you want, but yet then you feel like, well, this is what I have to have because I have to protect myself from these things ever happening to me again. So I don't have a choice. I have to live here. I have to, keep myself in this situation because you don't understand all that I've been through. You don't understand everything that's happened to me. And at the end of the day, it's like, a lot of things do happen to us, unfortunate. A lot of things are out of our control. But just because something happens to you doesn't mean the rest of your life has to be controlled by that. Because what I realize, whenever you do that, you're giving power to the person that hurt you to then control the rest of your life and to keep you in a bondage, to keep you like free from being authentically you, and from finding the best version of yourself, to crushing your goals and in your dreams and having that laughter. And it's not worth it. And it's in another thing that I realized, and it's a little bit in my book, but as parents, our kids are watching us more than people think. They don't say a lot, and they don't, because I didn't tell my mom things, but there's a lot of things that what I went through was because of watching her and how she did things. And so whenever I became a life coach a couple years ago, I started coaching my kids. And I asked them, because they're older. My youngest now is 20, my oldest 32. And so I asked my kids, I said, okay, I'm doing my life coaching, but I'm going to be doing it through Zoom. It's a little different. So can I coach you guys through Zoom? And it was very interesting, especially with my son, who he's my second born, and we were always very close, super, super close. But through the years when he went to college and stuff, he went down a path of being on drugs and going to jail and getting kicked out of college and off the football team in college. And, just everything was just piling down. And I wasn't understanding. I'm like, how, why? Like my child could have been a doctor. Like in school, he was so intelligent. He's so good looking. He's 6 foot tall. He played football. I mean, if you put it on paper, you're like, what are you doing with your life? Like, why are you going down this road? And so when I started coaching him, because it just broke my heart with this one, he started opening up to me because I listened. There's a thing, communication is key, but listening is the key of communication because you learn more by listening than talking. And so I know that's a cliche. We have 2 ears, one mouth, but it is so true.
So
And
true.
so
So
I
true.
listened to my kids, and he's like, Mom, and I would have never known this had I not just like been able to just keep my mouth closed, because when kids go through things in life, they all have a different takeaway from it. There's different personalities, there's different things that triggered them differently. It can be the same trauma, and everybody's going to come back with a different response. And half of the responses you can say, well, that didn't happen like that, but that's how they perceived it. That's how they took it. They're not going to heal if they can't heal from what hurt them. So I had to learn to just, okay, let them talk. My son was like, Mom, he said, my only two options were prison or the graveyard, because he said, watching you allow people to treat you the way they treated you, and watching you being so unhappy, never laughing, never having joy, never getting to be who you are. He said, that caused me so much pain that I had to get rid of that pain by doing things that were even more painful in your eyes, because otherwise I couldn't have lived. And he said, so that is the reason I went down that path and got on those drugs. And I didn't purposely do that. And that was very hard for me to forgive myself from that. That was like, when I'm talking about the forgiveness thing, I could forgive a lot of things, but forgiving myself, knowing what I put my kids through, because I didn't really think that it mattered to them. Like, okay, but this is my life. They're kids. They can figure out their life when they grow up. Our kids really do absorb and take in more than they'll ever tell you. And in my kids on my healing journey, I never told them once. I did go to my kids in the very beginning when I divorced and apologized to all of them and said, I cannot change the past, but I will change our future. And every single one of my kids have healed alongside me, with me not saying a word, not a word to them. Like, they're like, my son's like, Mom, I keep healing because you heal. I just watch you and I keep healing. And now he's a home builder. He has married, he has a daughter. My granddaughter's 6, and they're just doing really, really good. And it's like, but our actions and our, the way that we handle things, the way that we heal, it does matter. So one of my biggest messages to people is to unleash your inner superhero. And when I say that, we all have that's that authentic self. Back when you were like 10, 12 years old and you were just free to be you, like, find that person again, whatever it takes, because when you can just be you, it's like you just feel the weight of the world come off, because you're just getting to be the best version of you. And then when you can really tap into that, I have found that that's whenever the magical things in life happen, like, opportunities come up, new friendships come up, and just this new joy and happiness, because you're free. You're free to be that person that you were put on this earth to be, not what somebody told you to be.
There's so much there. There is so much there. Yes, I agree with everything. I agree with tapping into your inner child and figuring out what she or he liked to do then. And because that's the thing, as adults in today's society, we have no idea what tickles our fancy,
Right.
right? Honestly, we
Yeah.
check the things off our list of things that need to be done, or our obligations. And I didn't share this with you pre-show, but I had my grandson spend the night, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, I would have loved nothing more than to have my husband wrap his arms around me saying, "Hey babe, why don't you take a nap after your podcast?" And everything's, but no, that didn't happen. That was my expectations. And this is the thing. There's nothing wrong with me taking a nap, and I don't need permission to take a nap. And I certainly don't need somebody else's words to do that.
Right.
Back to our inner child, if we were tired, we would just take that nap.
Exactly.
But we overcomplicate things. And
Mhm.
my daughter came to me yesterday in my home office, and I could feel her energy. And I grabbed a medicine ball, which I picked up, and she was sitting in the coaching chair, and I'm sitting here, and I gave her a black stone, and I was holding on to a black stone, and we were throwing the ball at each other. And next thing you know, like, we were releasing the energy. Next thing you know, she started bringing up the past and how hurt she was and how I did things wrong. And the laundry list of emotions that came from there, and the words, and how much she hated me and still hates me. And this all came up, and it completely changed the direction. And you and I are both being extremely vulnerable here. And this particular daughter is 23. She has been mature beyond her years, and we've always had that expectation, and not on purpose, right? She's one of those, I need to get out, I need to do things, I've got this world to tap into. And supporting that turned around to be what we thought was supporting that, turned around to be, oh, but you weren't there for me. You were never there for me.
Right.
And having these words come back makes you want to put those walls up.
Mm-hmm.
Having your son sit there and vulnerably share with you those choices, I'm sure impacted you as a mom, thinking, shit, how do I
Mm-hmm.
fix this? Because that's all we
Right.
want to do, right?
Right.
And it's
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah.
oh my God, I screwed up so bad that he either wanted to kill himself or go to jail.
Right.
Like that's, I can feel how huge that is.
Right.
I can feel how huge this was, which is why one of my modalities, and this is my personal training part of me, where we're throwing that ball, but we're releasing the energy. And if we're wearing black crystals, we're not picking up the other person's energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're releasing it. But I wanted to share with you how painful that moment was, and how I know how painful that moment was. Like, kudos to him for having the courage to open up. Kudos to her for having
Mm-hmm.
the courage to open up. And kudos to us for having our capes on and accepting what they had to say
Mm-hmm.
with love. So they
Right.
felt comfortable, because they would not have felt comfortable going there if they
Right.
didn't feel safe.
Right. Yeah.
And that's huge. And the thing is, when the walls are up, light can't penetrate. When those walls are up, you can't grab a
Right.
hand and have somebody pull you through out of the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
When the walls are up, you are not serving yourself. You are, and I said this in a couple of earlier shows, but you're literally like a tortoise inside its shell. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're peeking your head up every once in a while, but no, it's not safe to come out.
Right.
Right. So, what were some of your transitions to help you release those walls a little bit?
It's just been, well, for me, my therapy was I got into bodybuilding.
Mhm.
And so each of my shows that I went to, every single show, I had major breakthroughs. That was my therapy. It wasn't anything other than my
Yeah.
therapy competing, because people, think for all different reasons. Oh, that's your identity. You think this about yourself. You think that. No, I found my confidence in it. I found myself allowing myself to let my walls down. I found myself letting myself just be free to be me and not, have the judgments of the world. When you're raised in certain Christian environments, you don't get on stage in a two-piece bikini and show the world your body. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I had to let all those judgments go.
Yeah.
I had to do what made me happy. And even if I get out there and I get first place or last place, knowing I did it for me, to build my confidence and to grow in it. So that was really, I have to say, because each show, so the show that I did when I was 50, right after that show, I was doing a photo shoot, and I was driving by my dad's cemetery, and something told me to stop by his cemetery, and I didn't want to, and it said stop, and I didn't want to, and it said stop, and I didn't want to. And it was pouring down rain in Texas, buckets of rain, like the worst day possible, like, okay, another day. But I ended up doing it. And I went out there with an umbrella, and I talked to him, and I cried for an hour. And it was the most healing moment I've ever had in my entire life. But it's like when I was doing those bodybuilding shows, you're pushing yourself to such extremes in certain areas that you're like, oh, this flows over to other areas of my life. I can do this over here, and it builds my confidence. Like, wow, look what I did. I changed my body. I can change my relationships. I can change the way I see things. The sky's the limit. I can I can get there. I can do that. I can have those things. I can travel the world. I can write books. I can get on stages. That it's just little by little, it's they say confidence is a muscle, right? So as you're slowly starting to build it, like the first time I got on that stage, it's a long story for that thing, but basically I drove 3 hours by myself to my first show, no coach there, no one there with me. And I got on stage and I turned every which way wrong. I didn't know what I was doing. I was shaking like a leaf. There's 500 people watching me. Probably all of them were laughing because I mean, like, okay, what is this girl doing? Like, this is okay, poor girl. Where's your coach? Like, what's going on with you? And all I wanted to do in that moment was to run back to my hotel room and go home because I mean, I just felt like such a failure and such a, what am I doing? Like, who did I think I was to like get in a bikini and come out here on stage and like, what were you thinking? Like, that was not a good idea. Everybody that told you that's not a good idea and you shouldn't be doing that and you shouldn't be wearing a swim. Like everything was going through my head, right? Like beating myself up. But the thing was I had to go on stage 2 more times and to get away from the people that bring you back around is near impossible. So they swung me back around. Okay. So round 2 was a little better, but not much better. And then by round 3, see, I'm saying confidence is a muscle. By round 3, I'm like, okay, Valerie, pull yourself together. You've got this. I get out there. This is the 45 and up category. I get out there, I do my posing, and I'm like, okay, I didn't shake as much. I didn't turn the wrong way. I was like, okay, that wasn't great, but it was way better than the first 2 times. And then you come back at night for the night show, and that's when you get your awards. And of course, first and second time around, I got last place, whatever it was the last place. And but that third time around, I got first place. And so it was just something about putting myself out there, doing things that are scary, doing things that are hard, doing things that people told me not to do, doing things, but knowing it's something I wanted to do. Had I not got that first place, I can tell you right now, I would have never done another show because my confidence level after going out there and doing that was like, we are not doing this again. But it was the best thing I did to push myself, even though I didn't want to, and to get back on that stage, get back on that stage. And then as I've just continued to compete, and like I said, that for me, finding that hobby and just finding something that I could find success in, everybody needs something that you can find success in, something that, whatever it is, if you play tennis, if you run, it's not anything big, but just something that just helps every day build that confidence muscle because it does flow into other areas of your life.
100%. And I've just this year, so this is being recorded on March 4th, 2023. And earlier this week, I signed up for a 5K and a 10K race. And I
Awesome.
went for a run on Thursday night with a group of people, and I have not ran in a group in over 10 years. And now I've ran before. Okay, so
Right. Right.
in my late 30s, mid 30s, I started running. There's a story and a half there. We can talk about that at a different time, but I didn't grow up as a runner. I started running because I didn't like the way my reflection wasn't smiling at me in the mirror.
Right.
Never thought I could do it. I had all of the laundry list of excuses, but it was a game changer for me. And very similar to you, when I was in that age category, next thing you know, I went from not doing it to being able to get medals in my category, second or third place. I didn't get first, and that was okay with me, but
Right.
to
Right.
even get, and here is where I think a participation medal is acceptable.
Mhm.
Anybody that does any kind of event
Right.
and that chooses to do any kind of event as they age deserves a participation
Yeah.
medal.
Yeah. That's big. That's big.
That's
Running
big. Not as
is
a
big.
child, you know what, learn to
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
as a child, learn to play.
Yeah.
But as an adult, fitting this into your life with all of your other priorities, focusing on who you are and taking time for yourself, you deserve that medal, that hardware.
Yeah.
And I know so many people will be like, oh no, I didn't get first or second or third, so I'm not taking that hardware piece. Look at this. My hair is so fine. A regular clip won't stay in. So I keep unfilling with it so it goes back. So yes, I ran with a group of people on Thursday night and I was the slowest of the bunch. The
Yeah, that's
slowest. And it took me a little bit of work to realize that's okay. I did 5.5 kilometers
yeah.
in 40 minutes, which is slow for me. But I also spent 4 years in physio for my ankles. This is my post recovery, and now I have a number to improve on.
That's awesome. I ran when I was trying to find my hobby, I ran the Houston Marathon because I had run some
Oh,
marathons and I'm like, well, I'm going to run one full marathon, 26 miles. And I ran with running groups, and even to the end, every single running group I ever ran with, I was always last finishing. And when I say last, everybody's at home already by the time I get back to my car. Like, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
Like I was trotting, but I wasn't doing it for other people. I was doing it because I wanted to finish. And so when I did the 26 miles, I finished it in like 4 hours and 57 minutes. I trotted the whole thing. I never stopped. And yes, people's times were way better than mine. But like you said, that accomplishment, it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I finished it. I did it. No, I didn't want to run anymore because that just wasn't my thing, but I did it. And I finished what I started out to do. And it does feel good. And that's, regardless if you're the last in your group every time, that's awesome. You're out there doing it.
And it doesn't matter what it is. That's the thing.
Right.
We're talking about our childhood and the
Yeah.
superpowers and how that has inadvertently led to you and I both doing things that bring us joy, whatever that joy is.
Right.
And showing up for yourself isn't easy.
Yeah. It's not, but you have to. Nobody else is going to show up for you. So you have to show up for yourself.
And bodybuilding, going on stage half naked is not easy, and you are being judged. The only person that runs you when you judge is yourself.
Right.
Nobody is going to be there to say, you're not good enough today. That's you saying that today. That's me saying to myself, I'm a little disappointed because you could have done better than that. But I'm also saying, but you did it.
Right.
You didn't fail. You finished. You did it. Now let's improve.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
When you can challenge yourself like this, you can pick yourself up from anything.
Yes.
You can grow from anything. So it builds confidence. Let's talk about how confidence is built into your day through some of the different modalities. So the topics, the pillars I like to bring up somewhere throughout the conversation are meals, movement, mindset, your relationship with money. And, we've talked a little bit about movements with the bodybuilding and the running and how that brings up confidence. So let's talk about how confidence leads into your mindset.
So, I think confidence is everything, but I also believe that confidence it doesn't come for me from my thing. When I talk about it, you have to have some self-love. So if you can't even figure out how for me, I had to figure out self-love. And what I mean that is that I mattered and that I'm my longest relationship. There's no other relationship I'm going to have. So I need to invest in myself, need to be the best version of me, because until you can find some self-love, for me, it was near impossible to have self-confidence because I needed that self-love first to know that I was worthy enough and to get on that stage, regardless of how I did. I am valuable. I am, all of these things. And so it's baby steps. It's learning you, loving yourself, doing things that you're not used to doing. And then you see that you do it. And then it builds the confidence. Oh, okay, I can do that. It could be as small as every morning I'm going to get up and go for a 5-minute walk. I'm going to walk out. I'm going to walk way down to the mailbox and I'm going to come back just to get some movement in. And it grows. And then your confidence is like, oh, I did that, and then before you know it, then you're continually, growing. I think sometimes people want confidence. So they want to go do these big, grandiose things. And they're so big that they've never done anything small that then they beat themselves up because, oh, I can't do that. Like if you were to tell me even 2 years ago, you're going to be getting on 2 podcasts a week and talking and speaking in public places, I would have looked at you like you lost your mind. Like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted it to happen. So I've had to do it in baby steps. It's like, okay. And so right now my goal, I've been getting on 2 podcasts a week on average. And it's like my training wheels. So when I do start going places and getting on stages and bigger places, it's like, I built my confidence knowing I know my story. I know what I'm sharing. I'm not just speaking out of, just whatever. So I do understand how to, share on topics and but we have to give ourselves some grace, and we have to know that it doesn't happen overnight. You're on your own journey. You cannot compare it to other people. There are some people that just are freaks of nature and they just have it. I mean, they may never have been a runner and they go out there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're like in the Olympics for the 50-yard dash. And you're like, well, okay, I've been running my whole life trying to do the 50-yard dash. And you just try it like twice and now you're in the Olympics. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So there are some people that just have, and you can't compare because it's not your journey. It's your journey. I have lots of friends who are life coaches. I will never compare myself to them. I will never judge myself against them. I will never judge my value, my worth. I will never criticize them. I will only uplift them, because I believe if you show up in the world, your true authentic self, there's place for everybody, because there's people that will gravitate to you. There's people that would gravitate to me. There's people that'll gravitate to the next person. Doesn't mean any of us is better or lesser, right? We're all here to do our thing. So in building confidence, knowing that you can't be hard on yourself. So like, oh, but I'm doing this and I'm life coaching and I'm speaking, but my friend's a life coach and she's so booked, she can't even take all the people. And yet I'm out here trying and nobody's coming. I'm just giving like a situation, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can't be like that. Like whatever you're doing, you do baby steps, and in the confidence, I believe, will come through practice, through just not giving up on yourself. You cannot give up on yourself.
And that's huge. There's a couple of big pieces that you talked about here, and you probably have encountered this just like I have when you're talking to other people. Well, I have a coach. Okay, great. That's not what this conversation's about. You don't see a lot of coaches co-collaborating.
Right.
You don't see you're feeling more the competition with a lot of things still versus the collaboration. And the collaboration means I can learn from you, you can learn from me, we can empower more people together. It
Yes.
doesn't mean we are going to be delivering the exact same message the exact same way. And I like to say this because we talk today with similar experiences. I don't know your complete background. I don't know your complete education. I don't
Right.
know what you like to listen to for personal development. I guarantee you, although we have similarities, we have so many other differences that our approach is going to be different,
Mhm.
right? That
Yeah.
our outlook is going to be different. The way we say things and communicate, our approachability is going to be what attracts us to the right people. You could be listening to this or watching this and be like, one of my peeps that have been watching me for years and love everything that Valerie has to say and what she's doing, and perhaps you connect with her, and perhaps the reverse is also true for me. And
Mhm.
when you create space for your own level of confidence to grow,
Yes.
that becomes irrelevant.
Yes, exactly. I have a co-collaboration with two other life coaches through one of my networking groups. I got them. I said, okay, let's meet and we're going to put together a mastermind class, because we all three have different things. And I said, we're not going to do anything like, oh, you get this person, you get that person. We're not doing that. This is like, we're going to go share our heart. We're going to share what we offer, this, that, and whatever happens, happens. We're just going to be we're not, there's no comparison. We're just going to be us, and we're just going to go and we're going to share. And then if anybody wants to work with you or her, whatever, then that's what happens. Like, we're not going to be, that's my person. Like, no, we're going to, like you're saying, you create that space, you put out what you want to put out. And like, I believe like we're like magnets. So I put out what I want to put out, and then I'm done and I go about my way. And then those that are for me will attract to me, because they'll be like, okay, I need to have a coaching call with her or something, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
next person. But I have grown up looking back with so much jealousy around my life from so many people, just on weird levels. And I didn't even realize all of it. So now I have refused. I'm like, if I feel any part of that, I'm out. Like, that's not happening. I'm not going to project it. I'm not going to take it. I'm for empowering women. We all have a message. We all, work very hard. We all do all of our studying, all of our stuff. So what's meant to be ours will be ours, because
A
that's how
hundred,
I,
a
put
hundred
it. So
percent.
over the years, whatever's meant to be. So when anybody's out here like trying to figure their way out, whatever they do, you have to know that if you get in that mode of lack, like, oh my gosh, there's not enough, and you have to compete, I can guarantee you that is no way to live. And that is not a way that's going to get you the kind of success that you're trying to get to, because success can't grow in a lack mindset. Like, you have to let that lack go, and just be in an abundance, because there's abundance for all of us. There's more, if there's more people that need things than there are coaches. So it's gonna all be okay.
And it's not, it's like a hairdresser. It's definitely not a competition. And I wanted to hone in how it, the difference it feels when you're confident, because
Yes.
that whole competitive piece is gone. A
Right.
confident person competes with themselves and nobody else.
Right. And you know your value. So you don't take it so personally. And I'm not going to say that there's like, you go and you give out your heart, and let's say nobody can coach you. You're like, oh, okay. But at the same time, you're truly okay because you know you did what you were called to do, and you delivered the message, and you did the work. And life, my big thing is life happens for me, not to me. So there's always reasons why I'm there, who I'm meeting, and then I'm on to the next thing. So I don't sit there and dissect it like, oh, I must not be very good, or oh, wait, everybody wanted to coach with her and she spoke like that. I need to change how I talk. I need to speak like her,
Right?
because no, that's the worst thing you can do. You need to just stay true and authentic to you. And in your time, maybe the next meeting you speak and everybody comes to you, so you just have to continue to be the most authentic you that you can be. And I truly believe that when you are just truly authentic you, and you're not like, you're unapologetically just you, right?
Yes.
That's just the best way that I have learned and grown. And it's taken me a long time to get there, because I used to always dissect things and analyze and what I do wrong, and why this and why that. And it's like, okay, that's so exhausting.
It
It's
is
such
exhausting.
it's such low energy, and it's so exhausting. And you're like going, okay, not doing that anymore. But it is a process. I mean, it is, like I said, it's always a learning. That's why you're always investing in yourself, always educating yourself. I mean, I'm always listening to things every single day. I'm listening, learning, growing. Like, it just never ends, right? So some things I might listen to and be like, oh, okay, take the good, throw the bad out, whatever. But I'm always open. I'm never closed-minded. If somebody says, oh, you're saying that wrong or doing that wrong, okay, cool, let's talk about it. Like, why do you say that? Like, I'm not going to be above to block them out, but at the same time, I'm still going to stand in what I truly believe. But I'm not going to have this war of like, just getting more and more confident in what you believe, what you stand for, what your core values are, and what your purpose is. When you know your purpose and what you're meant to do, it doesn't really matter if you have haters or people want to say things about you. I'm not for you then. Or if somebody, like my book, I did get some flack of, oh my gosh, you have a picture of you in your suit on your book, no one's going to buy that book. I don't want my husband seeing that. Okay, perfect. I'm not for you. Because my other books won't be like that. My first book, I was like 24 years where I was told what I had to wear, and when I had to cover from head to toe, and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. So for me, it was a freeing of, I could be me. This is me. At this age, I was able to do this. Of all that I have been through, this is a huge accomplishment for me. I'm not looking
Yeah.
at it like, oh, look at me in this suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking at it like that, right? So when you're being authentic to you and what your message is, there's always going to be people that are not going to be for you. They're going to have their naysay moments and this, that, and the other. And it's okay. It's truly okay. I'm just not for you. Maybe it's someone else's. And you just have to continue to move forward to your goals, your dreams, the things that are put in your heart, and don't let anybody stop that.
100%, 100%, because there will be people that will comment on one thing or another, and they're just not your person. And that comes again with confidence.
Yeah.
So you talked about how you're always learning and growing. Can you share with us some of what that looks like throughout your day?
Well, every morning I wake up at least 2 hours before I have to get ready. Always. So I it's always going to be something positive I'm listening to, or I listen to, I have one lady that does energy, and she's talking about listening to the 528 megahertz and the 432 megahertz. So sometimes I'll just turn that music on for the brain waves to just, you know, I don't really fully
Sorry, what did you say? 520 megahertz and
528, and she had me do 432. So I don't know, with my energy, she's like, your brain needs to hear these brain waves. So I don't understand all the frequencies. I've kind of listened to some of that. So it's very interesting how our
it
body
is.
frequencies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's, you know, and then I like to I find my certain motivational people that I listen to that really will speak to me. And I mean, I listen to people all the way from Brene Brown to Tony Robbins to Joe Dispenza. I love Joe Dispenza, all the stuff on the mind and the quantum field, all the stuff he talks about. Sometimes I have listened to him many times to understand what he's saying, but he's brilliant when it comes to your mind and what it can do. And even if I wasn't raised that way to understand all of that, I'm still open to learning, because it's what's changed my world. It's what's changed my energy. And to know, there's balancing your body. Every cell in your body's energy. And so if we're energy, one of the ladies had me do grounding work, okay, be barefoot, go in the grass if you out, several times a day because you're grounding. And some of that before I was like, what are we doing? Like, this is like woo woo. But then it's like, okay, no, I'm going to really understand. And lots of chiropractors recommend it. And I'm like, okay, this really isn't woo woo. There's so much energy in the ground, and our feet are the most energetic part of our body. So they were saying a lot of that anxiety issues and anxiety problems, all that energy goes up here to the heart, and we need to get it back down to grounding. And so people, when you can really understand, so just for me, it's just always being a learner. Like I always want to, what books are out there, and absolutely love the book, The Audacity to Be Queen by Gina.
Oh, there we go. Say it again. The audacity.
The Audacity to Be Queen. And her name is Gina, and I have to look it up for you in a second. I can, but I listened to that book first on Audible, and it was so good that I had to go back and buy the book because there were so many things that I wanted to go through on that. Because for me, and I'm still in my dating world, looking back, I dated people that weren't kings, and a king is going to provide, protect. He's going to uplift me. He's going to let me do me. And have my, gifts and talents, and he's going to encourage me, and he's going to want the best for me. Right. In all those things. But a lot of times us women, we don't groom ourselves to be a queen, but yet we want a king.
Right.
But we're not groomed as a queen. Well, kings look for queens. And so it's just very eye-opening in listening to her book of what it means to be a queen. How do you walk? How do you talk? How do you act? How do you, there's just so much to it. So again, in just so many areas of my life, like every morning, it doesn't, I don't care where I'm at. I can be on vacation. I can be wherever. And on vacation, I might only do like 30, 45 minutes, but I say my I ams every morning. I get this, like I have this right here. This is one of my little microphone things that I got for when you do on some podcasts. And I pick this up. It's a symbol. And I say, I am a world-renowned speaker. I am a best-selling author. Like I put things out there, like I'm lining it up. I'm speaking it. I'm acting as if it were so, right? Am I today? No, but I know I am, right? It just hasn't all come together. So I think, your morning is so important to start it out in a positive, manner. And it doesn't mean that your day is going to turn out perfect. It doesn't mean that I'm living in woo-woo land that, I just think everything. No, because life is like 99% of how you handle the challenges that come your way. So when you're positive, like I've had more hardships and challenges head my way than most people have in a lifetime, but I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to say these things. I'm still going to say, the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I will still speak out the things that I am and having. And so literally every morning, I don't even care if I don't feel that, like I'm going to get up here and I'm going to say it. There's days I'm like, okay, but I mean, I make myself, I'm like, Valerie, say it with some enthusiasm. Like, you got to say it like you mean it. And it's so interesting that when your subconscious starts lining up with the things that you speak, when the things that you want happen, it's almost like they just happen simultaneously. And it's not even like that it's a big deal. It's like, oh yeah, I've already known. I am a world-renowned speaker and I am a best-selling author. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, because you have taught your subconscious, you have taught yourself that this is who you are. Even though I don't see it today, this is who I am. This is what my purpose on this earth is to be. This is what's going to happen, and it will happen. It will line up. So power in your words. I mean, I'm so big on that every single day. I mean, I will tell you, I have more negative thoughts come to my head than probably most people. I'm not even lying, because they do, but you will never hear me say them. I will never say them out loud. My kids are like, Mom, you don't ever, I speak out the opposite. Whatever is trying to come and tell me like, oh, that bill you just took on is too expensive. You can't pay that. I'll say, money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways.
Yeah,
every day.
that's one of mine too.
So it's really how you speak. And when you look at people's lives, it really is. If you can just listen to how they talk and you look at their life, I will tell you, it is almost always parallel. Like, people that, well, life never works out for me, nothing ever goes my way. And they're just constantly talking like that. And then you look at their life just month after month, year after year, and you're like, maybe we need to change the way you see yourself and that you're speaking. But again, that's all with coaching. So I'm very big.
You and I know this, but the people listening to this might not know this. So it's great that you're bringing this up.
Super important. My mornings are all about, I need something. And sometimes I just get on YouTube and I'll just type in on YouTube, like motivational speaking or inspirational. And then I'll just kind of go through them until I hear someone that resonates with me, like, oh, okay, I want to hear that again. And then I'll save those. Some of them I like, I'll save. So I'll go back and listen to them again, because if it's really good, I want to hear it again. Okay, what did I miss? What did I not get on that? I take notes. You know, we should be, like I said, your longest relationship with yourself. You should want to figure you out in to become that best version. But instead, most people, including myself in my past, I'm not saying, we want to fix everybody else. Well, you should do this and you should do that and you should. But then when you look in the mirror, you're like, I haven't even done this for myself. So I have since just turned it on me. Like, you know what? I can't control anybody else but myself. Because at the end of the day, I don't even care. You can't control your kids. I mean, you want to think you can, but you really can't.
You
You can
can't. You
manipulate
can't.
them. You can like scare them into things, or I'm gonna take your credit card away. I mean, you can, but at the end of the day, if they want to do something, you have no control.
Well,
You
we
only have
witnessed this
control
last
over
night with our grandson. We gave him a fork to eat, and he started banging it, and we took it away. And then he had a full out tantrum, and we were like, well, we're going to give you this fork again, but no banging. We gave it to him again. He banged. We took it away, full tantrum, third time. And this time he went and sat on the couch. We made him go and sit on the couch. You cannot control
right,
another person's behavior.
right,
We've tried.
right,
We've
right.
had multiple divorces. We can tell you,
Yeah.
and the best way of changing somebody else is changing yourself,
Yep.
because that is the only change that can happen.
Right.
So I love how you share with me that you not only tap into a variety of different people when it comes to your mindset work in the mornings, and the hurts that you listen to and the I ams. I actually tap into my favorites, which is Bob Baker. I listen to for affirmations
Okay.
while I'm getting ready.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is Esther and Jerry Hicks with the Teachings of Abraham. So
Okay.
it's mainly Esther Hicks right now. It talks about the law of attraction. And I'm sharing these because, again, the audience that's listening to this, they're going to either love your suggestions, which you talked about, Brene Brown, Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza has an amazing walking meditation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And every time you listen to this, your back is a little straighter, and you're a little bit more in your superpower. And it's great. And it's not a matter of who you follow. You could be listening to Valerie's podcasts or shows. You could be listening to mine. It's that you do something
Right.
to change your thoughts and to let you know there's a different way of moving forward.
Yes.
So mindset, meals, mindset, movement, we've tapped in on pretty good. Let's talk about meals and how your relationship with money has evolved over the years. And when I say that, I mean like AKA stress. And that's because we both know this isn't our first rodeo in life. We're not in our 20s thinking everything is going to be a certain way, like the fairy tales. Our relationship with money changes over the years. But fundamentally, it's our relationship with money that makes or breaks a lot of our decisions in life. And you tapped on this with your I ams. There's a couple of powerful affirmations that I say, and that is, every dollar I invest, I get back 10 times the
Yeah.
amount,
Yeah.
right? Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways.
Mm-hmm.
Money sticks to me as it flows to and through me.
Mm-hmm.
So how is your relationship? So I want to hear about those two things. Your the way you look at meals and fueling your body, and how your relationship with money has changed.
I really had to change my relationship with money because, like I said, being a stay-at-home mom all those years, I never had a really good relationship with money. I just thought, if we're paying our bills, we're doing good. I wanted more, but I just didn't really think I deserved more. I just thought, okay, we have a little house, we have enough groceries, we're able to pay the electric bill, we're good. I just had a very scarcity mindset. And then I started hearing some teachings on how money's just energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's abundance of money. There's so much money in this world that it would, if you could just open up your mind to see the currency and how it's traded and how it's this and how it's that, and it's really not that scarce. But when you just live in your little little world that's all you see, you don't realize like it's there. It's meant to be traded for services and goods and this and that and the other. And also, in coaching and different things, when you know your value and I had to work on this, when you know your value and this is why when I got my life coaching certification 7 years ago, I didn't do anything with it because I'm like, okay, I can't charge that much. Like, I don't even have myself figured out. I really had a hard time with it. I'll just do it for free. So I would just coach my friends and in situations they're going through. And that's just what I did for like 5 years. I'm not going to charge them because I didn't feel like I deserved it. Right. I didn't feel like that. I just felt like, well, why wouldn't I just do this for you? Like, I'll just give this to you. So my relationship with money just wasn't there. I didn't feel deserving of it. I didn't feel like I deserved more. I didn't feel like that was for me. But as I have grown and as I have found self-love and as I have found, and I would ask myself the questions, what's different for me than the women that live in that neighborhood over there? That, money is not their battle, right? Because they have abundance of it. What's the difference? It really is a mindset. It's really how you see it. You can't have that scarcity mentality. When you have money, you hang on to it. Like, you do need to learn how to invest it. You do need to learn how to, not to be so like tight with it, right? Because it's energy, so it's coming and it's going. And for me, just having those visuals and just realizing my value, and even when I do my coaching things, I'm not the most expensive life coach, but I'm also definitely not the cheapest by any means. And just because the times we're in, I have decided to have my prices at a more of a, I say I lowered it just a little bit, not because of my value. I just know the times that we're in, but it still is an amount that I feel comfortable with. And you feel like, okay, I'm not just taking from you, but I do know my value, and we all have to, make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it just, through a lot of things, it's still evolving. I'm not going to say I've arrived. I'm not going to say that I'm there fully on money, because that is the one spot for me that I still has been my challenge. We all have things.
Mm-hmm.
I never worked. So when I divorced at 44, almost 45 years old, I was always a stay-at-home mom, like my whole life. Like, I mean, yeah, I did a few networking things here, like direct sales, I sold different things, makeup, this for fun, like I just did things for fun like that. I was never the breadwinner. It was just, oh, we're going to go to the so-and-so's house and you buy this makeup kit and then you can sell it, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I never had a lot of, interaction with money. Somebody just paid my stuff. Like, my husband paid the house note. He paid the car note. He paid if we went on vacation. Like, it wasn't anything that I really knew a lot about. So
you had to learn your relationship.
I've had to learn what investments mean and what are good investments and what aren't, and I'm still learning all that, and, still pulling myself up through getting myself there. But yeah, I think, money can hold people back in a lot of ways, because there's so many things we don't realize subconsciously, that as a kid, money doesn't grow on trees. Who do you think you are? Our family doesn't have money. You don't deserve money. Money is evil. You just hear these things and you don't realize that subconsciously it's stuck in your brain. And so then you get these blocks of, like, you might notice that, okay, you can make X amount of dollars a year. Let's just throw out $75,000 a year. And you get there and you're content. And it doesn't matter what you do, you can't get past that number. Well, I tell people, if you can't get past that number, then you probably need some coaching or something, because there's a blockage. There's something blocking you. Because why could you go from making 20,000 to 75,000, but then once you've gotten there, like, you've been there for 5-10 years and you can't get past that? Like, you can get past that. It's definitely, there's, something, and I've been there. Like, I've had to have some coaching for some people, because I'll get to a certain spot and I'm like, and then I get some more coaching, and I don't realize you don't know what you don't know until you start getting
Yeah.
into
Yeah. I love that saying. It's my favorite saying, because it's the most
yeah.
authentic. The saying I don't like is, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, no.
As a coach, that just means
Yeah,
surrendering
no.
and not working. But
yeah.
but what you're saying, you don't know what you don't know, is extremely powerful.
Right. And then as you get in your talking, and then you have these aha moments, and you're like, oh, I can make $1 million a year. Oh, I can make 2 million a year. It's just energy. It's just money. It's just this. You just don't get so attached to it. You start doing the actions and you're doing the actions, and you're just letting what is to come to you. Like it's a weird thing. It's a mental thing. Like it's hard to explain to, unless you're like working with it with someone, right? You're like, you do all that you can do, and you're putting it out there, and you're just trusting, knowing that it's all going to come back. And for me, when I've gotten to this place, it actually does. It's so weird how it works. It's like the energy. I just keep myself for myself. I've been doing a lot of work on feminine versus masculine energy. So
Oh,
I've
I
really
talk about that too. Yeah.
I'm keeping myself in the feminine energy, because before I was so masculine that, I mean, I was burning the clock from 4 a.m. to midnight. Go, 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 do, push, 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 harder, 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 more, more, more. Like, you're just making these things happen, and then things aren't happening, and you're frustrated. And so I had to I had to unwind some of that and be like, okay, I need to be in my feminine energy. And what that means is I work smarter. I put all my things out there. I do all that I'm to do. I learn all I'm to learn. And then I put things out, and I might say, okay, I have this program I put out there and this, and I just have to stay knowing that I've done the work, and the right people are going to come, and they always do. It's so hard to explain how that works, but it works.
And it's interesting because that will not work if your price is too low. That
Yes.
will, right? Honestly, you could be offering a program that just is not an energetic match for your own value.
Yeah.
You think you're doing a service to society, you think,
Yeah.
but you will not bring anything in if your value is too low because you're
And
not
I've done
attracting the right people.
so right. I've done free things thinking, okay, I'm going to offer this free for them. And you put all this work into it, and you get it all set up, and you've got 30 people coming, and one person gets on the call because
Yeah.
you did it for free. And
And you
it's
did
like,
it for free, or you're hunting, hunting, hunting to find all these people. You invite all these people and it's free, but you, yeah, whatever. Like I'm not saying that there's no value in free. There is a lot of value in free.
right, right.
People associate that there is no value in free, so they don't continue with their commitment in doing the work.
Yeah.
So you don't see themselves as enough of a priority. All right, let's talk about your meals, and then we're going to conclude today's show.
Okay. So ask that question
Meals,
again.
nutrition, meals.
Oh,
How do you
nutrition.
fuel
Okay.
your body?
How I feel my body. I really, for me, when I do my best, I just follow macros, but I mean, I can't say I always follow the macros, because life does happen, but I'm always conscious of how I eat. Like, I eat lean meat, vegetables, the carbs that I know are the best for me. I try to do gluten-free just because my body and my stomach digest better, and I have a sensitivity to it, but I don't always, like, I'm not always perfect with it, but I am a big believer in spacing out my meals, watching my calories. If I go to a restaurant, I do look, it does matter. So I look at the salad I want to get, and it's 1,200 calories. I'm like, oh, okay, we're not doing that. Because it does matter what you put in, what you fuel your body with, and it's energy. So I do. I don't really have an exact way unless I'm competing. Now, when I'm competing, that is not balanced. So that's not something people can follow, right? Because you're only having like 1,200 calories, doing all these crazy things, and you're depleting yourself. So that's how I
For
get
a
so dialed
short
down.
period of time. Just to
Yeah,
be
in a short
clear,
period of
you are
time.
depleting yourself for a short period of time. It's not
Yeah.
healthy, it's
Yeah.
not safe, and that's why you work with a coach on this.
And I really do. The people I've worked with do believe everybody's body is so different. What works for you may not work for me. Like, some people love keto. I'm like, shoot me on keto. I don't have energy. I don't know how these people get there. I've tried it. There's different, you can even go do your DNA testing, your blood work. It'll even show you. Some people it's not good for. And some people in their DNA testing will show caffeine and coffee is great for you. Some people, they do studies on and say caffeine's bad for your heart and you shouldn't. So for me, what I have learned, everybody really is so individualized. It's not really a one size fits all. And like, I can't have a whole lot of carbs if I want to keep my AC1 number. I'm not diabetic, I'm not pre-diabetic, but it's higher than it used to be. It used to be in the fours. And so I notice when I do have more rice and more oatmeal and more things, and then I get my blood work done, it's higher. And it's like, okay, my body doesn't process that as well. So I can have some, but I need to not have as much. And so I've learned this with trial and error and getting my blood work done, and going to my doctor and staying on that. But to me, that's a complex question, because so many people are so different. used to think I knew the answer to that. I really did,
Yeah.
but now that I have so many clients that have gone to like these high-end doctors. They do all this blood work, all these things, and they say, "Oh my gosh, you're allergic to blueberries and spinach." Okay, well, I'm thinking as I'm writing their meal plan, you can have spinach here, blueberries a little bit here, like, and then it's not, and it's like, and that's why they're bloated and all these things, because it causes severe inflammation in their bodies, and so I mean,
And it's just to educate for just a second, again, for those listening to this, both blueberries and spinach are considered superfoods, which is why that they would be considered as part of most meal plans, right? So unless you know that you're allergic, that you have a sensitivity, or how it has an internal reaction to your gut health, your GI tract, your coach wouldn't know that because these are
yeah,
superfoods. Yeah.
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 And like you said, the gut health is everything. It's
Yep.
everything. If you like for the digestion purposes, for people, because there's so many people that eat so healthy. You're helping them and you have them on a really good plan. You're like, okay, this is like, you should be feeling great and you should be dropping weight, and they don't. And then they go and they have all these gut issues and the enzymes. So, but
And
if I
that's
was
what,
to start someone off on a meal plan, I would say, make sure you're getting your 3 meals a day. Don't skip meals for the most part, because you need to keep your metabolism going. And then again, there's some people that have a rebuttal on that. So it's really from what I have found, it is trial and error, because I've had coaches that want to coach me in my competition. And I try to tell them I can't have this, this, and this. And they're like, I'm the coach. You're going to do what I say. And then I get to the end and I'm like, see, my body's not where it should be, because I know my body, but they don't want to listen. So I've coached myself the last several shows.
but it didn't start there.
You didn't start there. Yeah. So
It,
you're learning your body. So yes, take advice, but if you're feeling weird, or you're feeling like you have to listen to your body, is what I guess I want to say at the end of the day. You have to listen to your body. And if you're at a place that you can do an allergy test, or the food sensitivity test, those are always great to have done, because then you can know, because I didn't realize that. I just didn't put it together that when you're eating foods that are on that sensitivity test, all it does is cause your body inflammation. Well, then what does inflammation cause? It causes all kinds of
everything.
things. So you want the least amount of inflammation in your body possible. So if because blueberries was on my thing, it was very high for me for inflammation and sensitivity, and I love blueberries, and I was having them all the time, and I'm realizing, okay, so but then I could have strawberries, so it's like, okay, I'll switch it. So just by knowing those things, and doesn't mean I don't ever have blueberries, because I still do sometimes, but you want to keep your body with the least amount of inflammation as possible.
And on that note, inflammation doesn't make you feel good. It's harder to move. It's
Mhm.
harder to squat. It's harder to put your socks on. Inflammation makes everything 10 times harder. And it's the foundation for almost every single disease that's out there, from diabetes to heart attacks. Like, we could talk about this on a different day. But let's go back to something that you said as we're summarizing the meals and nutrition. You started it off by saying it's about how you feel. Fast forward to the end of the conversation about this particular subject. And again, you said it's about how you feel. And that is the biggest takeaway that I want people to lean into. It doesn't matter. I like to work with macros and helping people find the macros that work, but I know a lot of people like to count their calories. I know a lot of people are just elimination diet, no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, for just starting things out. And I absolutely agree with you. In my professional opinion, keto is not sustainable. We need carbs for our
Right.
brains.
Right.
And
Yes.
if you can't eat something from, if somebody tells you that something naturally grown from the garden is not good for you, I want to tell you to give your head a shake. That's how
Yeah.
passionate I am about keto not being an option. Give your
Right.
head a shake. A potato is not bad. A
Right.
carrot is not bad.
Right.
Oat is more of a grain. It's more of a superfood as well. Like oatmeals, it should be considered um not as a carbohydrate, but at the end of the day, if your food does not fall into fat or protein category, it is automatically carbohydrates. The problem is most people are going into change without education, without a coach, without somebody directing them, and without somebody, most importantly, letting them know it's how they feel that matters. A one-step progression of feeling better is progress.
Yes.
And that means you're on the right track. If eating
Absolutely.
the right foods make you want to move your body more, that's up a couple of notches, right? Like that's what
Yes.
we're going for here. So as we summarize today, as we put everything together, what is the biggest takeaway you want to share with the audience?
Even like we're talking about, listen to your body. It all goes back to be authentic to you. Your DNA is the only DNA in this world, right? You're that individualized. You are that much of a special person, right? You are truly, there's not another one of you. So what works for you in any area that we've talked about may not work for somebody else, or that's why we don't want to copy. And you really want to get to know you on all levels with your health, get to know yourself, emotionally, physically, like get to know who you are in what makes you feel good and what makes you happy and what makes you thrive and be a better person, and gets you out of your shell and gets you moving and doing. And some people with exercise would never exercise, but yet they absolutely love yoga, but would have never known it had they didn't try it, so you have to be willing to have an open mind and continue to try things until you find what works for you. And don't just look for someone to tell you, because even people that are certified in things don't always know, because they don't know your exact DNA in your body and all these things that's going on. So take it with a grain, of course, listen, and try it. But if you're not feeling it, continue to keep exploring till you figure out what works for you.
And the right coach is going to ebb and flow you through the different stages, and you're going to be feeling confident enough to say, this didn't work, and it's not an excuse. Here's my feedback.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes you have to go through a process because we're trying to help you step out of the way of your excuses.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my headphones are just about to die, so I know we are coming to an end. I want to thank you for showing up today. Before we go, show me your coffee cup. I know you brought one.
Oh.
Be like a boss. No, it's moving.
Yes, it's like a boss. And one of my
Like a boss.
coffee
Mine
machines,
says
yeah.
hot mess. I actually was drinking water out of it for the last two shows that I just did back to back, and I went to have a sip, and I'm like, oh, and that reminded me to talk about coffee cups. And the reason why coffee cups come up in my conversations, and I've done a separate episode on this, but it's one small thing every day that brings me joy, is choosing my coffee cup.
Yeah.
One day I will know I've made it, because the hardest choice I have to make is, which coffee cup do I choose today? That means to me that I have achieved time freedom,
Right.
that I have achieved balanced energy, that
Yes.
I have achieved financial freedom.
Yes.
Yep. All right. We are sending you both so much love and joy today. Make it an amazing day. And thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up today, Valerie, for being a guest. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of the show. We're going to have links and references in the show notes. And you can reach either one of us at any time.
Thank you.